It used to be the shower, our kitchen with a small oven and a dishwasher. Tulips became quite fashionable. This one, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot the name. I think it's called the Royal something. And this was the most expensive tulip in those days with the flames. There was even a stock market for tulip bulbs. People could invest in tulips. And in 1630 there was one gentleman spending, I think it was 65,000 guilders on one tulip bulb. And it's now the equivalent of 12 million euros or dollars. For one tulip bulb. And when that happened, other people started to invest in it. There were also a couple of clever entrepreneurs here in Amsterdam. They thought, wait a minute, instead of bringing all the tulip bulbs and flowers from Turkey and sell them over here, why don't we start growing them? Now, it takes around 7 years before a tulip bulb is matured and capable of producing a nice flower. So in 1637, so much supply of tulip bulbs here that the stock market crashed. And that was the first stock market crash in the world. The Dutch East India Company, of course, had a headquarters. This is a painting of the headquarters. This building is still here, although this part is now renewed in, I think, in the latter half of the 19th century. But this is still here. That's now part of the University of Amsterdam.
Okay.
But in the 17th and 18th century, this was the most important building of Amsterdam. So all the money was earned here. Although eventually Amsterdam became the financial capital in the world. And they financed the independent part, of course. So, now, if you go a little bit further, this is the rest of the East India House. You see a gate and then a small building. So the Dutch East India Trading Company was located next door. So, and that's the reason why this street in the 17th and 18th century was the most expensive shopping street of Amsterdam. So all the money was earned here, and then people had to spend it. Nowadays we have a saving account, but and that's our house here. And then next to it we have the gate to the Walloon Church. I'm not sure if you've noticed the two skulls, one on each side. If you're standing outside, also if you look through the window downstairs, yeah, this is quite difficult to see. But if you look, if you're downstairs again, just on top you see a skull.
Okay.
And this is a funeral service gate. So this was used for funeral service. Like all of the other churches in this part of town, they don't have a cemetery. The reason, Amsterdam was originally built in a big swamp. The water table is quite high.
Right.
So if you start digging here after the 2.5 to 3 feet, most of the time 2 feet, it fills up with water. And that's normally not a good combination with cemetery. If you're standing outside, you see also the 3 crosses. I'm not sure if you've seen it. Nobody is knowing what it means. If you have tour guides telling you what it means, they're a little bit crap. Yeah, kind of crap. Because the symbol itself, it's much older than the city. And it was used to identify this region. So there are cities nearby with 4 crosses or 5, 2 and 1. Okay. So it was more, I think, in the 11th century to identify yourself. So I'm from that region. And, the gate next door is also the gate leading to the Walloon Church, and the Walloons were the French Protestants. Now the house itself was even smaller than nowadays, so we have an even older painting. So originally it was only 2 floors and an attic. That was built in 1738.
Okay.
And what we do know is that before this house was built, a large warehouse was standing here. And it was called King David, Koning David. And it belonged to the Dutch East India Trading Company. It was demolished in 1734, and the year after our neighbor's building was completed. But they didn't build anything over here, so this was a free spot. And probably the reason why they didn't build anything over here was that in those days there was a maximum length of the beams. It was 5 to 6 meters. If you wanted to extend those meters, you had to build thicker walls, better foundation, that kind of things. And it was quite expensive. And then eventually in 1738 they completed this building here. And then in 1769 they completed the house as it is nowadays, and people started to live here.
Wow.
Yeah, this house is quite remarkable, but what's also quite remarkable is that it belongs now to my parents-in-law.
Oh
For
wow.
the last 60 years.
Oh.
By the way, they never lived there. When they bought the house, there was no plumbing here. Just like in the States, at least in most parts of the States, if you want to live in a house, you need to have plumbing.
Yeah.
Probably if you live in Alaska and the outskirts.
Right.
Nobody really cares. My mother-in-law had a luxury gift shop here in the past for 20 years. And then eventually in 1993, my wife started to live here. Nowadays this is, it used to be the shower, but
Yeah.
it's now our kitchen with a small oven and a dishwasher. But yeah, we know that families used to live here for almost 200 years without any plumbing. And the nicest thing about the building is that so far it's only had 3 owners. So so my parents-in-law had now have this house for the last 60 years. But the first owner had this house for almost 200 years, from September 1738 up to October 1936. And my wife and I, we went to the city archive 15, 16 years ago, and then we discovered that the first owner was the city council. And that was fantastic news for us.
Wow.
Just like in the States,
that's wonderful.
counties and city council, they generate lots of information and data, and then they archive it. That was also the case. And I think Amsterdam has one of the biggest city archives in the world, so they already started to archive in the 13th, 14th century. So we found almost all the information of the people who used to live here, what kind of professions they were doing, how much rent they were spending on this building. And this is a painting from 1787, and in those days a tailor was working downstairs, Samuel Samuelson. And he was living here from 1782 to 1789 with his family, his wife, daughter and son, here upstairs. So this probably was their bedroom. Yeah, we found his rental contracts, and he had 2 rental contracts, one for the shop downstairs and then for this residential area. And he was spending in total 30 florins of florin, that was the local currency in those days, a month for this building. And in today's money, that's, we have now the hyperinflation here in Europe. It's around 1,700 euros, so $1,700. We also found out that we are the second tea house here. So
okay.
the first one was here from 1840 to 1843, and then they went bankrupt. Now there's the black building there.
Yes.
I think that one is from 1536 or 1538. So it's on the right hand side.
Yeah,
so,
down this alley, the black.
It's a stair gable.
Yeah.
So this is the oldest part of Amsterdam. So most buildings here are 500-600 years old. We do have a couple of older buildings, but in the 15th century there were 2 big fires, great fires. There's several levels. So you have, I think, 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 is the most protected building, so you can't do any modifications on the inside or the outside without permission. In this case, this is level 2. So for every modification on the outside, even we hopefully in a couple of days they started to repaint the building as well.
Okay.
It's also with painters here, you don't know when they start or when they leave. If you see here, they already leveled the floor, I think, a century ago. So when we renewed the ceiling 2 weeks ago, and so we removed the old ceiling. And then we already saw that they leveled it already, and still it's leaning towards there. So this is already, so in total it's around 10 centimeters. But there is Monumentenzorg, that's in the department of our city council that's overseeing or taking care of. Not taking care, but they can advise you on that kind of thing. And also they control inspect the condition of the building. So every 4th, 5th year they come over here and they have a visual inspection and see if there are cracks. So if we have a crack of 1 inch within 7 days, we have to call an emergency number, and then they. So far, knock on wood.
Yes.
Before I was doing this, I was running an IT company, a software company, together with my wife, and We have many customers in the States. They'll choose for European contractors, and they what especially the financial companies said. Well, the nice thing about Europe, if we starting to work, Europe's already up and running. Yeah, so it's, and if in the West Coast we still have to wait for 2 hours before they reply on emails that they started the company with 200 people. It's 12, 13 years ago. We were acquired by an American software company. And then we had the option to move to the States, but to San Francisco. Eventually, my wife and I, we decided to do completely buyout of. My brother-in-law is 6'7", so that's around here. So he physically. Yeah. But when this was built, people were much shorter. So
Right.
I think those days, I think there were 5'2" or less. Even.
That was average?
Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
Ja, graag gedaan. 88, 88. Yeah, I can write down. Yeah, 88. What we normally do, we start with 8 and 80. So we normally say 8, 8 and 80. 38 is 38, so 83. 80, 30. The C and the G. So like this one, and and that one, it's all. Yeah, how do you call it? The G. Yeah, do you write it?
How do you spell?
Yeah, so, yeah.
All right, well, listen, thank you for everything.
Nick,
yes.
Stephanie,
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Have a good one. It was a pleasure.
Yeah,